Greetings. Are we live? Is it working? I haven't done this in a while, so you'll have to forgive me if there's some technical glitches of any kind. If this is working, and if you can hear me, please just type something. I'm going to try my best to kind of read the comments and questions as they come in. I don't have my lovely assistant helping me today. I'm solo. Well, my family's in the house, and I'm going to be joining them right after this, and the shop will be closed for Christmas. And I've got notifications coming in. I don't know if you can hear that. Little R2 noises periodically. That's my phone. So if anyone is out there, please just type, "Hey Rob," or "Sup," or "Merry Christmas," or "Happy Holidays," or whatever. I will see it. Then I'll know that people can actually hear me. Or you could type, "Yes, we can hear you," or "No, we can't hear you." And if no one joins me, this will be horribly embarrassing. "Hey Rob, yo." Okay, there are some people. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. I like that. Sounds very Harry Potterish. Kind of British. I'm going to do my best to comment or answer your questions as they come in. Spend a little bit of time hanging out in the shop as if you were here and we had the music going and we're sipping our favorite holiday beverage, cold coffee. In case you're not aware, everything is cold around here. At this time, at this place in Canada, it is very, very cold. You're from the UK. Hey, happy Christmas. I love the UK. I proposed to my wife in London. Long story. But so evidently you can hear me. This is working. That's awesome. First hurdle, soar over it. So I got no agenda. I got nothing to blab on and on about. But if you know me, I've got opinions about everything. So if you have a question or a comment or you want to get into anything Star Wars related or sci-fi or art or whatever, just let me know. I kind of half expect, because it's been a while, that we'll end up talking about, I don't think we've had any conversations about the Obi-Wan series or Andor, definitely not Andor, or the things that are upcoming, including Mandalorian, The Bad Batch, Season 2, and Ahsoka. It's fraught. They better do Ahsoka well. I don't really care all that much about Ahsoka, but doing the Thrawn Rebels storyline, Ezra Bridger, Harrison Dula, they don't mess with that. So what's on your mind? Internet, interwebs? Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of crickets, Christmas crickets. You know, it was inevitable that eventually one of these live videos was just gonna bomb. And this could be the one. You could be witnessing GCS internet history. The live video that bombed. Hey, why doesn't Rob ever do a podcast or anything? Well, there was this one time where he went live and like nobody showed up, and that was it. He just was so crushed deep down in his soul. It was rent apart, and he never went online live again. In fact, we don't even know what happened to him. He just he thought he was a crazy old hermit before, but now, I mean, he's a ghost. Nobody knows. I could go on like this for a while, and I will, until it becomes absolutely clear that there is nobody watching, in which case I will end this video and it will be scrubbed from the internet. I mean, for all I know, hey, you know what? There's a little indicator up there, right there on my phone, where right there. And it tells me that there are now 6 people that are watching this. So me and, okay, now I'm getting some comments. So me and some good, thank you. Henry says I'm a good man. Whatever that means. You're a good man too, Henry. So I don't know if you've seen this, but I was kind of messing around during any new builds in the making. Well, I'll get into that. Want to buy a Badaxx in 2023, please? I'll see what I can do. During the Obi-Wan series, of course, you recall the T16, and I happen to have a T16 toy kicking around in my stash. And so I put that together. Hey, from Brazil, awesome. Put that together, and I did a video. It's on this YouTube channel where I aged this. This was a brand new bag, but now this hangs in my shop, and only people that kind of know this. I thought the cool thing about the Obi-Wan story was that they did a lot of subtle little things to allude to, Luke's story in A New Hope. So I thought I'd have that bag in the background. Haven't really talked about that. Belgium, are you okay? So seriously, we've got international flavor today. We've got Brazil, Belgium, UK, and 3 other people from who knows where. Is there anybody from Canada? I mean, granted, there's probably going to be some US peeps. It's the usual, the huge. But any Canadian peeps out there like me, Hoth, residents, because it's Hoth right now. It's Hoth outside. Utah, awesome. It's probably not that cold in Utah, although it probably gets cold at night. Dry air, yeah. But it is, it's been like minus 34 Celsius here, which is like minus 29 Fahrenheit. And I'm not doing the math in my head. I actually looked that up recently wanted to complain to some of my American friends who thought it was cold. You know nothing of cold, but it's nice and toasty in the shop. I've got the furnace turned off for the video. So, what do we want to get into? Obi-Wan, Andor. Andor seems to be from Montana. Hey, so you're not very far from me. Montana is basically just south of here. So, I'm just going to dive right into Andor because I've seen or heard that it's got a lot of hate online. I don't know why. I don't get into the drama of a lot of the Star Wars stuff. Unfortunately, my feed has been relatively clear of this kind of drama. But with all these Star Wars projects, I've just kind of assumed everyone is going to be different. It's going to have its own flavor, its own staff, its own director, its own art department. So you never know what you're going to get. So in a way, that's kind of helped me appreciate each new Star Wars show or whatever for what it is. And not try to expect it to be, like, I don't know if people were expecting Andor to be another Rogue One or like a Rogue One B or prequel to Rogue One. I like it. It grew on me because at first it was a little slow, but a lot of things that I've ended up really, really liking have started slow, namely Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. Didn't like that at first, but it grew on me and it just became huge. Andor, I don't know if it's one of my favorite Star Wars things. Definitely doesn't reach the level of like Mandalorian or Rebels, but I love the type of story. It's a drama, but it's also, there's a bit of I don't even know what to call it. I don't know the genre. It's not an intellectual thriller, but you're basically, you become aware that you're following the journey of a character who's becoming a quintessential rebel. What does it mean for a lowlife who's got nothing going on to become to fight for a cause, fight and die for a cause? How does that happen? So we're seeing that kind of unfold, which I thought was really cool. So let me see what we got going on. Questions. I thought the writing. I mean, there's some speeches in Andor that just resonate. They're epic. Like you've got. I'm gonna flub on the character names, so please help me out here. But the first speech. I mean, you've got what's the guy's name that does the manifesto? I can't remember his name. Somebody's manifesto. That's that written thing he's writing about what it means to be a rebel. There's some really poetic descriptions of authoritarianism, and especially in our world right now, these things really resonate. Then you've got the character played by, oh man, why does it that whenever I go live, I can never remember anybody's names? Luthen, the character of Luthen. He gets called out by basically his spy on the inside of the ISB. Spoiler alert, I'm going to probably give some stuff away. And he has this epic speech about sacrifice and what it means to be a rebel and to give everything for the cause. And then, of course, the series ends with that epic video recorded message from Cassian's mom. Can't remember her name either. Man, I'm horrible with names. Moon's Custom Army. What's up, Rob? Hey, Moons. I don't remember your first name. Andor surprised me with subtleties and intrigue. Yes. You know, there's just a lot of layers to Andor that I really like. And I like that it's different from any other Star Wars offering. There's no shoot 'em up in the cantina kind of action-packed. In some ways, I felt like the Book of Boba Fett went a little too campy in terms of an action-packed series. So much color, so much splash, so much pizzazz. And then you've got Andor, which is dark, grimy, subdued. The art and the visuals are almost a little bit depressing, but very in universe. Hey, Vancouver. Finally, somebody from Canada. What's up, Vancouver? You guys got a little bit of snow too. One of the differences between you guys and us out here in Hoth is we can handle it. Because Vancouver, they got like 6 snowplows or something. You know what I mean. Anyways, I used to live in Vancouver Island, so no. Jeremy, right? Jeremy Moons, of course, Jeremy. In fact, you're not very far from here. Thanks for tuning in. We still need to talk about that thing that we talked about earlier, where I asked you about that thing, and yeah, it's cold. Stay warm, my friend. You know, hot tip: the Tauntaun, if you can. And it's, never mind. So yeah, Andor. Those are some thoughts about Andor. But fire me some thoughts, questions, whether it's about Andor or whatever. Someone asked about what's coming up. I will get to that later. I've got something to show you for next year. Something little. But yeah, Andor went from a show where it's like, I don't know if I'm going to like this, to can't wait for the next episode, to bated breath. Okay, it's on tonight. Let's see what happens. What's going to happen with so and so? What's going to happen with the job? With who's going to die? It's almost like a Tom Clancy novel in that you've got a Tom Clancy novel. You've got all these separate pieces that have nothing to do with each other, and they all come together at the end. And it's kind of a race to see who's going to figure out what in time. Andor's got a bit of that feel where you've got these separate pieces that all of a sudden you're seeing how they're interconnected and who decides what and why. And you've got multiple motivations in this emerging rebellion. You've got Mon Mothma and her, she's got like a noble right and wrong kind of streak. And then you've got Luthen, who's, whatever he's been through, it's kind of like he'll do whatever it takes. Very akin to Saw Gerrera, also in the show. And you've got these other pieces with very different motivations. And then you've got Andor, who's essentially starts the show with 0 motivation. And then you watch him navigate that. Yeah, no, I'm liking how it's playing out. Again, very different. Obi-Wan? Okay, now, I'm going to try to read this comment from Henry. Too long. Sorry. If you're going to make a comment or a question, you got to shorten it because it's only up on my screen for a short period of time, and I don't have time to read the tiny writing before it's gone. And I'm sure that was a really awesome, insightful question. And if you kind of concise it, ask it again, I will answer. Luthen reminds me of who Andor was in Rogue One. Jeremy, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, because Andor in Rogue One was very passionate, in your face. Some of us have been fighting this fight since, all our lives. I've been fighting this fight since I was 6 years old. That emotion comes out. And Luthen's got that too. He's got that veneer, but then when the emotion comes out, it's like there's something there. He's been scarred badly. Yeah, that's an interesting insight, Jeremy. We can talk about Obi-Wan, but to be honest, I wasn't thrilled with it. I enjoyed the spectacle of it, having Ewan and Hayden on screen again was pretty impressive, but I didn't like the mental gymnastics that they had to do. Okay, here's my big thing. In A New Hope, Vader says, "When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master." And we feel like we got to see that in Revenge of the Sith. And I was happy for there to be no Obi-Wan Vader interaction between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. But of course, that's not how money's made. So let's create a show that happens in between Vader and Obi-Wan. So basically we have to recreate that understanding that fans have had for decades of the story of Vader and Obi-Wan. We have to introduce a new story that will still fit those comments. So Obi-Wan's journey from a broken, failed Jedi to a Jedi superpower, that, when I left you, I was but the learner, clearly because you hurled rocks at me. So now that fits. It just feels like they had to jump through so many hoops in order to make that work. One of my tests is, after watching something, how likely am I to go back and watch it? All the Disney era films, I have not, my kids sometimes want to watch, so I'll watch with my kids, but I have not voluntarily fired up a Disney era film other than Rogue One and Solo. Love those. Rewatched those a number of times. Haven't rewatched any of the others. Just not interested. Obi-Wan is one of those ones that's like, I'll probably go back and watch it at some point, but I'm really not interested in going. Mandalorian, we've gone through that probably 6 times. So that's one of my indicators on how, just ask yourself, did I enjoy it? I mean, we can overcomplicate things and overanalyze, and I am exceptionally gifted at overcomplicating and overanalyzing. Just ask my wife. But if you really want to understand, did I enjoy it? Do you want to watch it again? Does it keep coming up, in your thoughts and conversations? Mandalorian season 3. Can I throw out some predictions? Mad Cow's predictions. There's not earth shattering. I think it's probably in my mind they've made some things obvious. Obviously, you've got a number of loose ends. Din Djarin has the Darksaber. The Darksaber is required in Bo-Katan's mind for her to rule Mandalore. Din Djarin has been cast out by his Mandalorian brothers, his religion, and he's lost his religion, and he seems hell-bent on doing whatever it takes to get it back. The way. You've got Moff Gideon. We don't know what happened to him. Presumably he'll come back. You've got the new ship that they've obviously spent a lot of time on. In my mind, it's not all that practical for bounty hunting work to fly around the world in a cramped starfighter. But, it's a show, so I don't know whether I expect they're going to stay with the N1 starfighter as his ship. I half expect that he's going to have either a home base, Tatooine, where he, flies out from, or he's going to get another ship where he can dock the N1 in the bigger ship. Maybe get back to the whole kind of thing of bringing in a team towards the end of the Mandalorian. You had the team kind of aspect, building his team. So you've got a lot of these things going. I think what's going to happen is he's a great one off to the show, but Bill Burr needs to come back. Bill Burr is awesome. He's really grown on me. I really like him. I like his character. I like that Boston edge, that slick talking. Yeah, he's just a really unique character. I think Bill Burr's awesome. They definitely need to bring him back. Everybody wants Carson Teva, of course. I think what's going to happen in The Mandalorian, here's my predictions. He's going to obviously go back to Mandalore. He's been told that the only way for him to find his way back to the Mandalorian religion, the way of the Mandalore, is for him to rediscover himself in the pools of something underneath the mines of Mandalore. Mandalore's been laid waste. So he's going to go. He's going to search the mines. I think he's going to rediscover his Mandalorian religion in some way that allows him to bridge all the Mandalorians together, and he's going to be the heir apparent, at least for a time, to the throne of Mandalore. He's going to, here's my prediction, either discover a living mythosaur or some means of something of the mythosaur. They've gone to a lot of trouble to talk about how it's been extinct for so long. And I think in discovering himself, in the hero's quest of slaying the dragon to win the princess in Mando world, he's gonna rediscover a mythosaur. He's gonna ride out of the mines of Mandalore on a mythosaur, and it's gonna be this epic moment or something. Almost like Boba Fett showing up at the end of Book of Boba Fett riding a Rancor, but cooler. Will they bring back another Razor Crest into the mix? Will he find one? Will he build one? Will he? And I think he will. I don't know about the Razor Crest, but I think he will get another Ambin pulse rifle. He'll find one, restore it, and he'll basically restore his Ambin pulse rifle. Those are my bold predictions for Mandalorian season 3. Will we see another character? Some have projected Han Solo is going to make an appearance. Grogu will help him tame the mythosaur. That's an excellent observation, because we saw Grogu coming into his force powers a little bit with Luke's training, and then taming or making a Rancor go to sleep. I imagine that's pretty difficult. I'm a parent of boys, so I kind of feel like that's what we do here. But seems to have his way with the animals. Yeah, Grogu's got some. Well, they're going to develop Grogu's talent and abilities. Oh, that's the other thing. We're on the verge of discovering in Grogu's memories who rescued him, if indeed it was a rescue, from the Jedi Temple. He was taken from the Jedi Temple, and then Ahsoka said that he kind of went into a period of lostness and forgetfulness So I'm not so sure it was a rescue, that he was rescued from the Jedi Temple. I think he may have been taken and imprisoned. Or some bounty hunter may have snatched him. Maybe even Cad Bane, who, incidentally, I don't think is dead because his heart thing was beeping as he's laying in the streets of Mos Espa. And we know Star Wars. If they can bring back a half a Darth Maul, they can bring back Cad Bane. So, I'm rambling, and there's been a couple of really good comments, and I appreciate that. And, you know, we're up to 12 people now. So I think we've, in my mind, we've kind of overcome that hurdle that this isn't completely bombing. 12 people is a decent Christmas party. You know, as long as you have a good 12 people, I think that's a decent Christmas party. It's maybe a bit of a slow party. You know, it's not so much of a dancing party. Nobody's in the mood. I don't know where you're at. It's a couple days before Christmas. Maybe it's too cold. Maybe too busy. Hey, we got 13 people now. That makes me think of Star Wars 1313, the video game that never was. I really, something about the seedy underbelly of Coruscant. I think that I just imagine the artwork would have been cool. Jeremy's not drunk yet. We're assuming that what's in this is cold coffee. On YouTube, you need to say whether it's made for kids or not. I don't know if it's a rule or not. Anyways, I'm not drinking yet. Still day drinking. Still admire my Saber. Bought from you back in 2014. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you still love your Saber. Yeah, disappointed that 1313 was canceled. I suspect that some of what would have happened in 1313 we've got through The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Jedi Knight Fallen Order, things like that. I think some of the art and the imagery in that and the story that would have been has kind of come through. Did I see the Buckethead series? I saw a bit of the first one. I haven't. There's so much good fan fiction out there. I really haven't followed a lot of it, to be honest. I've seen the odd one here and there. I did see Bucketheads that looked promising, but I didn't get around to watching any more. Should I? Is it good stuff? Is it inspiring? Does it recapture your love of Star Wars? Every once in a while, something will beep or you hear a chime in the shop, and it's an eccentric shop, and half the time I don't know what that is. Excuse me, I think it's the computer, which is right over there behind me. And I don't know if you can see my clock that I built. There's a video on that. A doomsday kind of clock. Probably backwards in the video. Let me think. Yeah, it's going to be backwards. Yeah, so what do you want to talk about? We'll go on for a little bit more. We'll wrap things up. In a minute, I'll get to something. I pretty much live building sets, so yes. I don't know what to make of that. I'm sorry. I pretty much maybe love building sets, like the sets. Oh, you maybe love the set. Yeah, so this is my inspiring workplace. Oh, note to self, or tip. If you think to yourself that you want to build an inspiring workplace, a studio, to let your imagination come alive, be aware that often it ends up being less inspiring and more a means of procrastination. Because you got a job you need to do, you sit down, you need to do it, then you look up and you go, oh, I never did finish the lighting on that. Oh, I was going to change that, or that's broken, or maybe that's fallen off, I need to re-glue that. Or, other things, I need to tear that out and redo that because I just I'm not happy with the way it looks. These are the kinds of things that just kind of creep in when you're trying to work. And so it ends up becoming, could be like a bottomless pit of procrastination. Didn't like the short film, but the first 2 episodes have been fun. Bucketheads, I'm assuming. Cool, isn't Mark Mears in that, right? And he's from not far away. He actually has one of my Sabers. He bought one at the Edmonton Comic Expo. If you go back in my videos, I got him to do a little Commander Shepard bit with in the video, which is really cool. He's a class act all the way. Enjoyed meeting him. Met Mads Mikkelsen as well at one of those shows. Edmonton Expo again. It was. Mads Mikkelsen, who at the time was not in Star Wars, and then of course he became Galen Erso, as we all know and love. Great actor, great character. He's going to be in something else coming up too. So it's not Star Wars, it's a Marvel. Is it Marvel? Or is he taking over for somebody? He was going to take over for Johnny Depp in a Harry Potter thing. Wasn't he was going to play Grindelwald? Yeah, that's what it was. So, since things are slow and nobody seems to want to fight me on any of the Andor or Obi-Wan stuff, how long did it take you to plan and build your shop? Excellent question, Mortis. This has been an ongoing bit by bit work for, how long have I been here? 6 years? I think this shop was built 6 or 7 years ago. And with the idea that I would make it a kind of a set. So I've been bit by bit putting things in. So there wasn't a vision to have bulkheads. I think if I was to do it again, I would try to create a cohesive vision where there's bulkheads and things are worked in, intentionally. Whereas this has been more an accumulation of the old school type of set building, like you would see in Stargate or old Star Trek or something, where just stuff is slapped on the wall. GAC, as they call it in the industry. So different things that fit in together that are just slapped together. So basically, this is my set piece shop wall. There's a window there. So yeah, it's been like 6 years. So since nobody wants to fight me on the Obi-Wan stuff, and I'm still trying to read your comments and questions as they come in. Any plans to make more Badaxxes? Well, it's funny that you should mention that, because this is a Badaxx. You probably won't be able to see it really well. It's super aged, and this is one that's going to be going up for sale in probably January, but you may have already noticed that there is of course, that's the blade. There is an OLED screen in this Badaxx, because up until now, even on my most high-end Badaxxes, there wasn't a really elegant way to securely house an OLED screen. And I knew that if I was going to do it, I was going to have to create a piece that fits in there, and then I was going to have to judge the angle of the opening and you do some experimentation to nail that angle and dial it in perfectly, so that this piece that holds the crystal focus in here and the OLED screen, it lines up perfectly and doesn't get bashed around when you're fighting. So this Saber will be going up for sale in the new year, and it is the first of the Badaxxes with the OLED screen. A little challenging, probably will be a little bit more money. I'll probably do a raffle to purchase on this one, but this is kind of the first, big news of 2023 is going to be OLED is now possible on the Badaxx, and this super cool old ancient relic looking one with my Firevine etching is going to be it's going to be up for grabs somewhere January, unless January. Sometimes January is super busy. Nobody buys anything for Christmas, and then all of a sudden everybody gets Christmas money, and it's just like mad rush on sales. So we'll see how things go. Did you know the price, perchance, roughly? I don't have that at the top of my mind. I think the last couple of customs that I sold, Creed, Ascend, were around the $2,300 range. This one's going to be more because of what went into it, but that's all I'll say at this point. Appreciate the love for the Badaxx design. As you know, I'm not one to put out 15 different designs or new design every year. I pour a lot of my heart and soul into my designs, and I try to work out a lot of the kinks before I make them something that I offer to my peeps, so that when people hold one, get one, use one, it stands out, and it's I want it to be. I appreciate things that are well thought out, well conceived, well executed, and that's what I try to do. So I've got few designs that then it allows me the opportunity as an artist to play with them. So I've got a base design, the Badaxx. I can etch it. I can work with texture. I can work with color. I can work with features and things like that, and I can do custom variations of my own base designs, which are intended to be solid, well-performing mid-range Saber. So I've got the Badaxx, I've got the Creed, I've got the Ascend, and I've got the Speeder. The Ascend and the Speeder and some Creed are the ones that I have in stock at the moment. And as been asked, I will endeavor to have at least a small run of Badaxxes available sometime late in 2023. But hey, Magic, nice to see you. But I will, I wonder how long your custom Saber is for your production Sabers. I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I will have some Badaxxes that I can sell. Have some parts assemblies that I left over from when I pulled it out of stock. The intention with those is to build custom pieces that I can periodically sell every couple of months, like that. For those of you who are, while we're on the subject of customs, and there was a question, I do have a custom work list for sabers similar to this, production series sabers with coloring, etching, different things that the customer can work with me on. That list has been 2 to 3 years of wait. So the people that I'm getting to now on the list are people that signed up a couple of years ago. And say, hey, you signed up on this list. Do you still want a custom saber? Here's what I can offer. Here, let's work on something, and then I give them a price, work it out. So basically, that's something that I do as I have time. So if sales are brisk, I won't get to the custom work or list for a while, a couple of months. If sales slow down a bit, pick up the custom list. That's I fill in with that kind of work. So that's kind of how I do it. Don't know if that answers your question. Excellent question. I don't know if you can see my shop stool that I worked on. I didn't ever do a video for that. I modeled it after obviously the droid fusion furnace that you see on Dagobah with Luke. But it actually functions as a stool. So I just stuck that over there. And of course you've got the Star Wars beer fridge. So yeah, there's a couple of new additions there. So we're gonna start winding things down. It's been half an hour of me babbling about various Star Wars things. If you have any other questions or comments or things that we can chat about for a bit before we kind of wind things up, because this won't be a long one, because I've got gingerbread cookies that are baking in the house, and I've got a family that's waiting for me. So will you do custom character lightsabers? I've always wanted a Carrot, been inspired by lightsaber because he's my favorite. By Carrot. I don't know who Carrot is. I don't know who, you might be referring to someone else or misspelling. There was a time when I felt like I knew everything Star Wars. I knew all the books, all the films, all the characters. But in the last 10 years, it's exploded so much. There are stories and books and characters that I'm just not familiar with. I'm just not that up to speed on a lot of the new stuff. So forgive me that I'm not aware of that character. However, to answer your question, I do not do any replica sabers, only stuff that I've designed. So if there is a designed character saber that you've seen in a film or a video game or whatever, I'm not going to replicate it. If there's a design that's been made by another fan, I'm not going to replicate it. But there have been times where I've designed sabers for characters. Examples being the Bane saber for the Darth Bane character as described by Drew Karpyshyn in the Bane trilogy. The Vane, sorry for the misspell. I'm still not sure who that is. So the Bane saber, it's a speeder saber for Corran Horn, and I did a Jaina, Sword of the Jedi saber, expanded universe, characters that I just didn't feel there was a good representation for a physical lightsaber that I wanted to design my own how I would have done it. Having said that, so I will, periodically, if I'm inspired by a character or I read a novel and I hear a description of a story, a character, a saber, I may want to build one to fit that character, but I haven't lately. Jeweler, machinist, black, what core should I get for, was it dremeling or drilling? See, if the questions are long, I won't be able to read them before they fade away. So if you're gonna ask a question, which I would encourage you to do, please short form it a little bit, and I'll do my best to get to it. And I love questions about tools too, so I'd love to get to that, but I'm not sure. But my background, for those of you that know, I'm not, build my own saber. I'm a jeweler, machinist, and blacksmith. What core should I get for dueling? Oh, dueling. Thank you for clarifying. I don't know how to answer that. It really depends on what you do. I've got customers who never use their saber. It's a shelf queen, or maybe on a costume. And then I've got on the other end, I've got people like Jimmy Munskapenny in Calgary, who does full-on sword combat with armored gloves and headgear. They use the heavy grade blades. I don't believe he uses NeoPixel or Pixel at all, just stuff that he can smash, and it stands up as much as possible to what they're doing. So you've got everything in between. So if that's what you're doing, you're going to want a heavy grade blade. All of my sabers are made for that type of dueling unless specified otherwise. Like the Bane saber, I specify, maybe light or medium dueling, just simply because you can duel with it, but I have two concerns. One is there's sharp claws, and when you're really putting a lot of force, you could actually gouge yourself or someone else. or clothing can get ripped with those claws. They're not sharp, but they're sharp enough to do that with a lot of force. Also, you've got a lot of internal parts, crystals and things, and over time, anything, no matter how well built it is, can vibrate or shake loose. There's a lot that's been done in these sabers to shockproof them, anticipate years of vibrating. But anyways, trying to spell the character's name, like to just call him from the Alien Space Cowboy that show up in the Bad Batch book of Boba Fett. Still, too long a question. I'm only getting the gist of it. I'm not sure what character you're referring to. However, the answer still stands. If there's a designed saber out there for a character, I'm not gonna replicate it. I'm not gonna do replicas for sale. I don't want to get sued by Lucasfilm or Disney. I'd rather get hired by them. I'm not holding my breath. Bane. Okay, Book of Boba Fett. So a saber for Bane. Darth Bane is the one I'm talking about, not Bane the bounty hunter. I don't know that I would ever design a saber for Bane the bounty hunter because he just doesn't seem to. That's not his shtick. That's not his character as a saber wielder in my mind. And again, those of you that know me know I'm not a huge fan at all of the Clone Wars cartoon series, that whole long thing. The Darksaber, Cad Bane, others that have been Ahsoka that have been drawn out of that have made appearances in Rebels, which I love, or Book of Boba Fett, or Mandalorian. I appreciate their use, and I understand that there's a whole Star Wars segment out there that loves the Clone Wars. It's not my thing. Just didn't like it. I felt, I think, a little bit burned by how George Lucas seemed to throw the expanded universe under the bus when writing new stories that contradicted stuff that he'd rubber stamped before. I just didn't like that. Still don't like that. Still bugs me. So yeah, it's good. You got me going a little bit there. Any other comments or questions before I wrap things up for Christmas? Yeah, like I said, this is it. I'm shutting down the shop, turning off the lights, and going to be off for a little while. And I'm looking forward to the time off. I mean, I love what I do, but I also like hanging out with my family and trying to not die in the cold and that kind of thing. Speaking of my family, you can see the mystical glow there. It's my wife coming. She helps me manage questions and comments. And so, are you coming to hang out for a bit?
No, just a couple minutes. I'm baking and I can't see comments on your video right now.
She's coming to help me because she's baking. And if she's here too long, the house might burn down. Hope you and your family have a great holiday. Good to hear from you. Have a Merry Christmas. Yes, we're kind of winding down a little bit, actually.
Okay, yeah, I can't see comments on your video.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out later, another time.
Okay, anyways, say hi to everyone.
My wife says hi, everyone. So the keywords that you can take away from this is baking and cookies. So I'm not going to stick around for too long. Love your work. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you and wifey. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. You can always fire me an email, ask a question if you want, or maybe we'll do another one of these live videos. Hey, we're up to 15 people now. Don't think you saw my question. How long does it take to design and make a saber? No, Mortis, I did not see the question. Thank you for that. It's really hard to say. To design and make a saber, an original, one of a kind, can take hours and hours and hours. And often I'll sketch, I'll go back, I'll change things. So it's really impossible to say. It could be months of just tinkering with ideas before I'm finally happy with something or inspired enough that I want to push forward on making it real. So I don't really have a great answer to that. I mean, I can whip up a saber in a couple hours from a design point of view, build a prototype, but I'm just not that type of creative person. I mean, there's some people that are. They can just slap some stuff together and it's amazing. And I really appreciate those types of artists. I'm more of a long process artist. Is that a thing? Did I just make that up? It's a thing now. I'm more of I like to play with an idea. I like to work with it. And I don't want to release images or ideas too early. I want to kind of have the kinks worked out and feel really good about the flow of something or the functionality of something or the tolerances. You build something, you design it, you build it, you got to fight with it to find out if it's going to snap in half. There's some things you need to kind of figure out and make sure of. So there's a lot of things that go into that before I'm really happy with the design. It used to be that I would accept custom commissions. People would say, hey, I want a Saber with this and like this and with this kind of feel. And then I would whip something up as fast as possible. And I always felt stressed. So I don't do that anymore. I like to take time with it. Can you share a link to your shop? Everyone does art at their own pace. Excellent, Jeremy. Yeah. If you want a link to my shop, you just Google Genesis Custom Sabers, or there should be a link on the YouTube page to go to the website. It should be pretty straightforward, and you can go see what's in stock there. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all that jazz. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap things up. Those are excellent questions. Thank you for the people that have joined in and out over the last little while. It's been fun to just kind of hang out in the shop and chat a little bit for a Christmas party. I do want to read one thing before I wrap up because it's Christmas. So indulge me, please. I know not everybody celebrates Christmas. And of course, there's no wish to offend anybody. So whatever your situation is, whatever you believe, there's no judgment here. But I celebrate Christmas. I'm a follower of Jesus, and I read the ancient scriptures. And there is one Christmas passage of the many that I absolutely love. And I'll read it to you really quickly. And the reason is, I don't know if you've noticed, but our world sometimes feels really dark. Lately, it's been feeling more dark. And I don't know about your situation or where you're at, but if you're feeling like you're in a dark place, this was written about the coming of Jesus at Christmas hundreds of years before he came. It's in the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, and it's dark in here, so forgive me. It says in verse 2, "The people who walk in darkness will see a great light. For those who live in a land of deep darkness, a light will shine." That's one of my favorite Christmas passages. And I want to leave you with that wherever you're at, if you're feeling like you're in a dark place, the light has come. Merry Christmas, everybody.